Hello, my dear witches and wizards. Welcome back to another evening by the fire. Tonight's story is one of rules broken, lessons learned, and magic that goes far deeper than anything you'll find in a textbook. We'll be venturing somewhere students are explicitly told never to go, a place of shadow and wonder, danger and beauty, where the trees have eyes and every step could be your last. But don't worry, I'll be right here with you the whole time, guiding you through. So, settle in, get comfortable, perhaps with a warm blanket and something soothing to drink. Let the outside world fade away. Tonight, you're not just hearing a story, you're living it. Now, take a deep breath, let your shoulders relax, and let's step into the world together. Your wand is in your pocket. Your friend is by your side, and the forbidden forest awaits. The evening air carries the smell of wet stone and fresh-cut grass as you kneel in the castle courtyard, your fingers already aching from pulling weeds. The sun has dipped low enough that the sky bleeds orange and purple, casting long shadows across the flagstones you're supposed to be scrubbing. Your knees hurt. Your back hurts. Everything, quite frankly, hurts. And you've only been at this for half an hour. This is what you get for sneaking around after curfew. Last night feels like a distant dream now, though it was barely 24 hours ago. You and Silas Merrick, your best friend and certified troublemaker, had been exploring the 7th floor, convinced there was a secret passage hidden behind one of the old tapestries. Silas had been so sure, his dark eyes gleaming with that familiar mischief, his messy hair falling into his face as he'd whispered about the castle's secrets. You'd followed him because, well, you always do. He has a way of making rule-breaking sound, not just fun, but necessary. Professor Ashwell had found you both with your wands lit, tugging at a particularly stubborn bit of wall hanging. The disappointment in her earth-stained face had been worse than anger. She'd simply sighed, told you both to head to Mr. Cross's office, and walked away shaking her head. Mr. Wickham Cross, the caretaker, had been delighted. You could tell by the way his wrinkled face had lit up, his gray eyes twinkling with something almost like joy as he'd assigned your punishment. "Manual labor," he'd said, voice dripping with satisfaction. "No magic, 2 hours in the courtyard. I want those weeds gone, those stones spotless, and the tool shed organized. And don't even think about leaving early. So here you are, dirt caked under your fingernails, your Gryffindor robes traded for something more practical, pulling stubborn dandelions from between ancient cobblestones while the castle looms above you like a silent witness to your humiliation. Silas is a few feet away, making a show of scrubbing a stone with a brush that's seen better days. His Slytherin green looks almost black in the fading light. And there's a smudge of dirt across his cheek. That would be funny if you weren't both so miserable. "This is medieval," he mutters, loud enough for you to hear, but quiet enough that Marigold Fenwick, the Hufflepuff girl serving detention on the other side of the courtyard, won't report him for complaining. Marigold got caught sneaking food from the kitchens, a far more innocent crime than yours, and she's been shooting disapproving looks your way ever since Cross left. You glance up at Silas, pushing hair out of your face with the back of your wrist. "At least we're not cleaning the trophy room with toothbrushes." "Give Cross time," Silas says darkly. "I'm sure that's next week's detention." The tool shed sits in the corner of the courtyard, its door hanging slightly ajar, tools scattered in a way that suggests organization will be a nightmare. You haven't even started on that yet. The thought makes you want to lie down on the cold stones and give up entirely. Time moves like honey here, slow and thick. The castle windows above begin to glow as candles are lit inside, warm yellow light spilling out into the deepening dusk. You can hear distant laughter, the faint sound of someone practicing scales on what might be a flute. Normal students doing normal things while you pay for your curiosity. Silas throws down his brush with a clatter that makes Marigold jump. "This is torture," he announces. "Actual, genuine torture. There has to be something more interesting we could be doing." You're about to tell him to keep his voice down when you notice where he's looking. Past the courtyard walls, beyond the manicured grounds, the forbidden forest rises like a dark wave against the horizon. Even from here, you can see how the trees seem to absorb the remaining light rather than reflect it, creating a boundary between the known world and something else entirely. "No," you say immediately, recognizing that look in Silas's eyes. "I didn't say anything," he protests, but his grin is already forming. That dangerous curve of his mouth that's gotten you both into trouble more times than you can count. You're thinking it though. The answer is no. "The forbidden forest," he says anyway, voice dropping to that conspiratorial whisper he uses when he's about to suggest something monumentally stupid. "We could explore, just for a bit, just to see what all the fuss is about." You stare at him, waiting for the punchline, but he's serious. His dark hair falls into his eyes as he leans closer, and you can see the genuine excitement there, the restless energy that never quite lets him sit still. "Everyone exaggerates how dangerous it is," he continues. "I mean, sure, they tell first years it's forbidden, but that's probably just to keep them from wandering off and getting lost. We're third years. We know actual spells now. We'll just peek inside, see what's there, and come right back. 20 minutes, tops." The rational part of your brain, the part that occasionally sounds like Professor Ashwell's disappointed sigh, knows this is a terrible idea. The Forbidden Forest isn't called that for dramatic effect. You've heard the stories, everyone has. Creatures that don't follow the same rules as the ones you study in Care of Magical Creatures. Magic that predates Hogwarts itself. Danger that doesn't care how many spells you've memorized. But you also know that if you say no, Silas will probably go anyway. And the thought of him stumbling through those dark trees alone is somehow worse than going with him. You look at the pile of weeds still waiting to be pulled, then at the forest, then back at Silas's hopeful face. 20 minutes, you hear yourself say. We go in, look around, come straight back. And if anything seems wrong, anything at all, we leave immediately. Silas's grin could light the entire courtyard. I knew you'd say yes. This is going to be amazing. This is going to get us expelled, you correct. But you're already standing, brushing dirt from your knees, your heart starting to beat faster with a mixture of dread and something that might be excitement. Marigold calls over from her corner, suspicious. Where are you two going? Silas doesn't miss a beat. To get different tools. These ones are rubbish. Mind your business, Fenwick. She narrows her eyes but turns back to her work, and you follow Silas as he casually walks toward the edge of the courtyard, trying to look like you have every right to be heading toward the most forbidden place in the entire school grounds. The temperature drops the moment you step beyond the manicured lawns. It's subtle at first, just a slight chill that makes you wish you'd brought a warmer cloak. But with each step closer to the tree line, the air grows heavier, thicker somehow, as if you're wading through something more substantial than atmosphere. The sounds of the castle fade behind you, the distant laughter, the musical scales, the general hum of life, replaced by something else entirely. The forest doesn't announce itself with fanfare. There's no clear boundary, no line in the earth marking safe from unsafe. Instead, the grass simply becomes wilder, the ground more uneven, and suddenly you're standing at the edge of something vast and ancient, looking into shadows that seem to have texture and weight. "This is it," Silas whispers, and you can hear the mix of excitement and nervousness in his voice. "We're actually doing this." You pull your wand from your pocket, the ash wood warm and familiar in your grip. "Lumos," you murmur, and light blooms from the tip, pushing back just enough darkness to see a few feet ahead. Silas does the same, his wand casting a second circle of illumination that overlaps with yours. The forest floor is covered in moss, thick and soft-looking, dotted with mushrooms that glow faintly blue in the wand light. Roots twist across the ground like sleeping serpents, gnarled and ancient. And the trees themselves are nothing like the neat rows in the herbology, greenhouses. These are old, their bark rough and scarred, their branches reaching overhead to create a canopy so dense that even the last traces of sunset can't penetrate it. You take a breath and step forward, crossing the invisible threshold between the school grounds and the forbidden forest. The change is immediate and profound. The air tastes different here, earthier, with hints of decay and growth mixed together in a scent that's both unsettling and strangely compelling. Your footsteps make almost no sound on the moss, and the silence presses against your ears like water, broken only by the distant rustle of leaves and the occasional crack of a branch. "See," Silas says, trying to sound confident, but not quite managing it. "Not so scary, kind of beautiful, actually." And he's right, in a way. There's a wild beauty to this place, something untamed and honest that the carefully maintained castle grounds lack entirely. The glowing mushrooms create little pools of ethereal light, and when you look up, you can see things moving in the branches. Small creatures, you think, though they vanish too quickly to identify. Then you see them, small figures clinging to the trunk of a nearby tree, their twig-like fingers and leafy appearance making them almost invisible against the bark. Bowtruckles. You recognize them from Care of Magical Creatures, though Professor Grubbly Plank's drawings didn't quite capture how their eyes seem to glow with a green inner light, or how their movements have an eerie, jerky quality like stop-motion animation. "Those are bowtruckles," you say quietly, keeping your voice low. "They're tree guardians, mostly harmless unless you threaten their home." Silas naturally immediately reaches toward one. "Don't touch," you hiss, grabbing his wrist. "They can be aggressive if they feel threatened, and their fingers are sharp enough to poke out eyes." The bowtruckles have noticed you now, more of them emerging from the bark, a dozen pairs of luminous eyes fixed on the two of you. They make small clicking sounds, communicating in a language of wood and leaves, and you have the distinct impression you're being evaluated. Silas slowly lowers his hand, and after a long moment, the bowtruckles seem to lose interest, melting back into their tree as if they were never there at all. "Right," Silas says, voice slightly higher than normal. "Touch nothing. Got it." You continue walking, and the forest seems to accept your presence, or at least doesn't actively reject it. The moss muffles your footsteps, and your wand light catches on spider webs strung between branches, each strand thick as thread and glistening with moisture. The trees grow closer together here, their trunks massive, and you have to navigate around them, following what might be a path or might just be a slightly less dense section of undergrowth. Time feels strange under the canopy. You think you've been walking for maybe 10 minutes, but it's hard to tell without being able to see the sky. The darkness is absolute beyond your wand light, not the comfortable darkness of a room at night, but something older, something that existed long before humans learned to make fire. We should head back, you say, checking over your shoulder, trying to gauge the direction you came from. We've seen enough. But Silas has stopped walking, his attention caught by something ahead. Wait, do you hear that? You listen, and beneath the ambient rustle of leaves and the soft whisper of wind through branches, there's something else. A rhythmic sound, deep and resonant, like drums in the distance or the beating of an enormous heart. What is that? You whisper, but before Silas can answer, the sound changes. It becomes clearer, more distinct, and you realize with a jolt of understanding what you're hearing. Hoofbeats, multiple sets, moving through the forest with a purpose that speaks of intelligence and awareness. A voice cuts through the darkness, deep and carrying an accent you can't quite place. Words that sound more like poetry than speech. Humans, young ones, foolish to wander here when the stars speak of danger. Centaurs. You've read about them, studied illustrations in your textbooks, but nothing prepared you for the reality of hearing one speak, the weight of those words carrying judgment and something that might be concern. Time to go, Silas says, and there's no argument from you. You both turn, moving quickly now, trying to retrace your steps, following the faint impressions your feet left in the moss. Except the forest looks different. The trees aren't in the same positions. That distinctive gnarled oak with the twisted branch, you don't remember passing it. The mushroom circle that should be on your left is nowhere to be seen. Your wand light catches on the same spider web twice. Or maybe it's a different web. You can't tell. Everything looks simultaneously familiar and alien. Silas, you say, trying to keep the panic out of your voice. Which way did we come from? He's turning in a slow circle, his wand raised, illuminating tree after identical tree. I thought it was this way, but nothing looks right. The forest, it's like it's shifted around us. The hoofbeats have faded, but their echo lingers in your mind, a reminder that you're not alone here. And if there are centaurs, there are other things too, creatures you haven't seen yet, dangers you can't imagine. You try a spell, pointing your wand ahead. Point me, Hogwarts. The wand spins lazily, once, twice, then stops, pointing in a direction that feels wrong, too far to the left. You try again. Point me, Castle. Same result. The spell is working, technically, but something about the forest is interfering with it, bending the magic, making the directions meaningless. The forest is blocking navigation spells, you say, and hearing the words out loud makes the situation feel terribly real. We're actually lost. Silas's face has gone pale in the wand light, his usual bravado cracking like thin ice. Okay, we need to think. We need to stay calm and think. But staying calm is easier said than done when your wand light catches on something new, something that makes your blood turn cold. A spider web. Not the decorative kind strung between branches, but something massive, stretching from tree to tree like a net, strands as thick as your finger and glistening with a sticky substance that reflects your light in rainbow patterns. It's beautiful in the way that poisonous things often are, deadly and mesmerizing. That's too big for normal spiders, you hear yourself say, the words barely more than a breath. Silas has seen it too, and his hand finds your arm, gripping tight. Please tell me you're joking. Please tell me that's just a really big normal web. You want to lie. You want to say it's probably nothing, just an exaggeration of the forest's magic. But then you see the eyes. 8 of them, glowing in the darkness like distant green stars, set in a head that's the size of a dinner plate. Then more eyes, another set, and another, appearing from the shadows between the trees, as if the darkness itself is opening eyes to watch you. The acromantulas emerge slowly, their movements deliberate, legs picking their way across the forest floor with a precision that speaks of intelligence and patience. Their bodies are covered in coarse black hair, and their mandibles click together with a sound like breaking branches, a conversation in a language of threats and hunger. You don't remember deciding to run. One moment you're frozen, staring at the approaching spiders, and the next your legs are moving, carrying you away from those glowing eyes, away from the clicking mandibles, deeper into the forest that you're already hopelessly lost in. Silas is running beside you, his breathing harsh and panicked, and you can hear the spiders following, their many legs moving across moss and over roots with terrifying speed. Your wand light bounces wildly, catching glimpses of trees rushing past, roots that try to trip you, branches that reach out like grasping fingers. "Incendio!" Silas gasps out, turning and slashing his wand behind him. Fire erupts from the tip, a spray of orange flame that illuminates the pursuing spiders in horrible detail. They hesitate, their eyes reflecting the firelight, but they don't retreat, don't flee the way normal spiders would. Instead, they fan out, trying to flank you, working together with an intelligence that makes them so much more terrifying than simple beasts. You spot a rocky outcropping ahead, gaps between the boulders that look too narrow for the spiders' bulbous bodies. "There!" you shout, grabbing Silas's arm and pulling him toward it. Your lungs burn, legs aching from the sprint, but adrenaline keeps you moving. The gap between the rocks is tight, forcing you to turn sideways, scraping your shoulder against rough stone as you squeeze through. Silas follows, and you both tumble into a small space behind the boulders, barely large enough for 2 people to crouch, your wands held up to provide light and warmth and the illusion of safety. The spiders circle outside, their clicking growing louder, angrier. You can see legs probing at the gaps, testing the space, but their bodies are too large, they can't fit through. They scratch at the stone, and the sound sets your teeth on edge, but the rocks hold. For now. "This was a terrible idea," Silas says, and his voice is shaking, all traces of his usual confidence stripped away. "This was the worst idea I've ever had, and I once tried to convince you to fly a broomstick during a thunderstorm." You want to agree, want to yell at him that yes, this was stupid and reckless, and you should never have listened. But terror has stolen your anger, leaving only the desperate need to survive. "We need to find another way out," you manage, looking around your tiny refuge. "We can't stay here." Behind the rocks, you notice something, a darker patch of shadow that might be more than just shadow. You lean closer, letting your wand light illuminate it fully, and realize it's an opening, a narrow passage leading further into the rock formation, possibly into a cave. "There," you say, pointing. "Maybe it leads somewhere." Anywhere has to be better than trapped between rocks waiting for those things to figure out how to reach us. Silas looks at the dark opening, then at the spiders still circling outside, then back at you. Into a mysterious cave in the forbidden forest while being chased by giant spiders. Why not? Our night can't possibly get worse. The passage is narrow and damp, water seeping from cracks in the stone and making the floor slippery. You have to duck to avoid hitting your head, moving sideways in places where the rock walls press close enough to scrape both shoulders at once. Your wand light barely penetrates the darkness ahead, showing only a few feet at a time, and every step feels like it might be your last before the floor gives way, or the ceiling collapses, or something worse finds you in the dark. Behind you, the clicking of the spiders fades, but it doesn't bring relief, only the terrible knowledge that you're moving deeper into the unknown, further from any hope of finding your way back. The passage opens suddenly into a larger space, and you stumble forward, almost falling as the claustrophobic walls give way to open air. Your wand light swings wildly as you catch yourself, and when it settles, you realize you've emerged in a different part of the forest entirely. These trees are older. You can feel it in the way they stand, patient and knowing, their bark scarred with centuries of growth. The air is thicker here, heavy with fog that drifts between the trunks in lazy curls, and the silence is profound, absolute, the kind of silence that makes you aware of every breath, every heartbeat. "Did we lose them?" Silas whispers, and his voice sounds too loud in the stillness. Wrong, somehow, like speaking in a cathedral. You listen, straining to hear any sign of pursuit, but there's nothing. No clicking mandibles, no skittering legs, just the heavy quiet of the ancient forest and the whisper of your own fear. "I think so," you say, but you're not sure if that's better or worse. At least when you could hear the spiders, you knew where the danger was. You start walking, choosing a direction that feels less oppressive than the others, though, in truth, every direction looks equally dark and unwelcoming. The fog makes it hard to see more than a few feet ahead, and your wand light seems weaker here, as if the darkness is actively resisting illumination. Strange sounds drift through the air, muffled by the fog, but distinct enough to send chills down your spine. The rustle of large wings somewhere above, though you can't see anything when you look up. A distant cry that might be a bird or might be something else entirely. The crack of a branch that sounds too deliberate to be natural, as if something large just stepped on it. "Can you see those?" Silas asks suddenly, and there's a new kind of fear in his voice, different from the panic of the spider chase. "See what?" You follow his gaze, but you see only fog and trees, shadows and darkness. Those things," he insists, pointing with a shaking hand. "They're huge, like skeletal horses with wings, and they're just standing there, watching us." Your blood goes cold. You've read about creatures that only some people can see, creatures visible only to those who have witnessed death. Thestrals. They're supposed to be gentle, despite their appearance. But the fact that Silas can see them and you can't is a reminder of how much you don't know about your friend, how much pain might hide behind his reckless grin. "We need to keep moving," you say quietly, taking his arm and gently pulling him forward. "They won't hurt us, but we shouldn't stay here." The forest feels alive now, not in the vibrant way of living things, but in a more unsettling sense, as if the trees themselves are aware of your presence, as if the darkness between them is watching, waiting, judging. Every shadow seems to shift when you're not looking directly at it, and you could swear the path behind you isn't the same as the one you just walked. Minutes blur into what feel like hours. You're exhausted, scratched from branches you didn't see until they caught your robes, bleeding from a cut on your arm that you don't remember getting. Silas has a gash on his forehead that's dripping blood into his left eye, and he keeps wiping it away with increasingly shaky hands. Finally, you can't walk anymore. Your legs give out, and you slide down against the trunk of a massive oak, its roots creating a natural seat. Silas collapses beside you, and for a long moment, neither of you speaks. "Cross is going to check on us," you finally say, your voice hoarse. "When he finds we're gone." "We'll be expelled," Silas finishes. "If we survive long enough to be expelled." The words hang in the damp air between you, heavy with truth and fear, and the growing realization that you might actually die out here, lost in a forest that doesn't follow the rules of the rational world you thought you understood. "I'm sorry," Silas says quietly, and when you look at him, you see tears mixing with the blood on his face, tracking clean lines through the dirt. "This is my fault. This is all my fault. I always do this. I always push too far, and you always follow me because you're a better friend than I deserve. And now we're going to die because I couldn't just pull weeds like a normal person." You want to be angry with him. Part of you is angry, furious even, but it's buried under layers of fear and exhaustion, and something else, something that might be acceptance. "We both made the choice," you say, echoing words that feel true, even though they're not entirely fair. "And we're not dead yet." But you don't know how to get out. Every navigation spell fails, the forest's magic too strong, too old, bending your attempts to find direction until they're meaningless. The thought of trying to walk anymore makes you want to cry, but staying here isn't an option either. Eventually, something will find you. The spiders, or something worse, creatures you haven't learned about yet, things that the textbooks don't mention, because the people who encountered them didn't survive to write them down. You close your eyes, trying to think, trying to come up with some brilliant plan, but your mind is as foggy as the air around you, clouded with fear and fatigue. That's when you hear it. Soft footsteps, too light to be a centaur, too measured to be a predator. Something approaching through the mist with a confidence that speaks of belonging, of being so perfectly at home in this dangerous place that danger itself steps aside. You grab your wand, Silas does the same, and you both scramble to your feet, backs against the tree, ready to defend yourselves, even though you're exhausted and lost and probably wouldn't stand a chance against anything truly dangerous. The footsteps grow closer, and then a light appears through the fog, not the yellow-white of a wand, but something softer, silvery, gentle as moonlight, and just as pure. The unicorn steps into view, and every thought in your head stops. You've seen pictures, of course. Every textbook on magical creatures includes at least one illustration, usually accompanied by warnings about how rare they are, how they prefer the company of women, how their blood can sustain life even at the cost of cursing the drinker. But no picture, no matter how detailed, could capture the reality of the creature standing before you. She, and you know somehow that she's female, is pure white, her coat seeming to glow with its own inner light that pushes back the darkness without being harsh or bright. Her mane flows like silk even though there's no wind, and her horn, spiral and perfect, catches your wand light and reflects it in a way that makes it seem like the horn itself is the source of illumination. But it's her eyes that hold you, dark and deep, and filled with an intelligence that's almost human, almost but not quite, something older and wiser and infinitely patient. It's a unicorn, you breathe, and the words feel inadequate, too small to encompass what you're seeing. Silas has gone absolutely still beside you, and when you glance at him, his mouth is open, his eyes wide, all traces of fear replaced by pure wonder. The unicorn watches you both, her head tilted slightly as if considering, weighing something in that ancient mind. Then she takes a step forward, and another, moving with a grace that makes every movement look like dance, like art, like something too beautiful for the dangerous forest around you. "Don't move," you whisper to Silas, though you're not sure if you're trying to protect the unicorn or yourselves. "Don't scare her." But the unicorn doesn't seem scared. She approaches you directly, and you hold your breath as she comes close enough that you could touch her. Close enough that you can feel warmth radiating from her coat, see the individual hairs of her mane, count the facets of light reflecting from her horn. She lowers her head, and you stay perfectly still as the tip of her horn touches your forehead, gentle as a kiss. Warmth floods through you, starting at the point of contact and spreading like water through every part of your body. The exhaustion doesn't vanish, but it becomes bearable, manageable, a distant ache rather than an overwhelming weight. The fear that's been clutching your chest loosens, unraveling like thread, and in its place comes something else. Clarity, purpose, understanding without words. You know, suddenly and completely, that she's here to help. You know that she's seen you and Silas stumbling through the forest, seen your fear and your regret, and decided that you deserve a second chance. You know that she wants you to follow her, that she'll lead you out of this place, back to the safety you took for granted. The unicorn lifts her head, breaking contact, and the warmth fades to a gentle glow in your chest, an ember that doesn't go out. She turns, looking back at you over her shoulder with those deep, knowing eyes. "She wants us to follow," you say, and the certainty in your voice surprises you. "How do you know?" Silas asks, but he's already moving, already stepping away from the tree, trusting you as completely as you trust the unicorn. "I just know," you say, and it's true. The knowledge sits in your mind like a memory, like something you've always known but only just remembered. The unicorn begins to walk, and you follow, Silas beside you. The difference is immediate and profound. Where before the forest felt oppressive, threatening, now it seems to open before you, the paths becoming clearer, the darkness less absolute. The unicorn's light, that soft silver glow emanating from her coat, illuminates the way forward, and wherever she steps, the forest responds. You pass creatures in the shadows, things you glimpse only partially, but none of them approach. A centaur stands in a clearing to your left, and instead of calling out warnings or challenges, he simply bows his head, acknowledging the unicorn's passage. Bowtruckles cluster on trees, watching silently, their glowing eyes tracking your progress, but making no move to interfere. Even the spiders, if any are nearby, stay hidden, respectful of the power walking ahead of you. The forest respects her, you realize, speaking softly so as not to break the spell. Everything here respects her, and it's more than respect, you understand as you walk. It's reverence. The unicorn isn't just a creature of the forest. She's part of its magic, woven into the very essence of this place in a way that makes her both of it and apart from it, a guardian, a judge, a mercy-given form. The path becomes easier, the ground smoother. The ancient trees thin slightly, and you can see hints of sky above, dark blue rather than black, stars beginning to emerge like diamonds scattered on velvet. The air grows less heavy, the fog dissipating, and you realize you're moving upward, climbing a gentle slope that will lead you out, back to the world of rules and classes and detentions that suddenly seem infinitely precious. The forest edge appears ahead, the trees giving way to open grass, and beyond that, the castle, its windows glowing with warm light that looks like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. The unicorn stops at the tree line, as if there's an invisible boundary she won't cross, a border between her world and yours. She turns to face you, and you realize this is goodbye. "Thank you," you say, and the words feel desperately insufficient, too small to convey the gratitude flooding through you. "Thank you for saving us." The unicorn steps closer, and once again, she touches her horn to your forehead, that same gentle warmth spreading through you. But this time, there's something else in the contact, a message, a reminder. The forest is not evil, it seems to say, but it is not safe. It is wild and ancient and powerful, and those who enter without respect, without need, without understanding, will find only danger. But those who are truly lost, those who are genuinely sorry, those who have learned what they needed to learn, sometimes, they are given a second chance. She lifts her head, and then she does something unexpected. She touches her horn to your hand, leaving behind a single strand of silver hair, so fine it's almost invisible, glowing faintly in the darkness. Then she turns, her movements liquid grace, and walks back into the forest, her light fading gradually until the darkness swallows her completely, leaving you standing at the edge with only the memory of silver and warmth. "Did that really just happen?" Silas whispers, and his voice is full of awe, stripped of all his usual sarcasm. You look down at your hand, at the unicorn hair wrapped around your finger, and carefully tuck it into your pocket. "Yeah," you say, "it really did." The run back to the courtyard is fueled by pure panic and the distant fear that Mr. Cross has already discovered your absence. Your legs, which moments ago felt too exhausted to carry you another step, somehow find the energy, adrenaline, and fear proving to be powerful motivators. The castle grounds have never looked so welcoming. Every familiar stone and blade of grass, a reminder that you're back, you're safe, you survived something you probably shouldn't have. The courtyard comes into view, and you slow, trying to catch your breath, trying to look less like you just fled through the forbidden forest, pursued by giant spiders, and more like you've simply been working on your detention this whole time. Marigold is still there, though she's clearly near the end of her own assigned tasks. She looks up as you approach, her expression confused. "You two took forever getting those tools," she says. "Where were you?" Before you can answer, before you can even begin to formulate a lie that might be believable, Mr. Cross's voice cuts through the courtyard. "What tools?" He emerges from the castle doorway, Grimsby the cat trailing at his heels, and pulls out his pocket watch, checking it with the satisfaction of someone about to catch students in a lie. "Time's up," he announces. "Let me inspect your work." This is it. This is where you're caught, where everything falls apart. You glance at Silas, and his face has gone pale again, all the color that returned during your walk out of the forest draining away. You haven't done any work. The weeds are still there, the stones still dirty, the tool shed still a disaster. There's no way to explain this, no possible excuse that will save you from expulsion. Except when you look at your designated area, the weeds are gone. The stones are clean, scrubbed spotless and gleaming in the courtyard's torchlight. The tools are organized in the shed, each one hanging in its proper place, arranged with a precision, wider that suggests hours of careful work. Cross walks over, inspecting the area with his typical thoroughness, running his fingers along the stones, checking the corners where dirt usually accumulates. He says, finally, sounding almost disappointed. Acceptable. Barely. You may go. He turns and walks away, muttering something about lazy students and his wasted youth. Grimsby following with that peculiar cat dignity that suggests he knows far more than he lets on. You and Silas stand frozen, staring at the courtyard that should be a mess, but isn't, trying to process what just happened. Marigold is staring too, her mouth slightly open. How did you? She starts, but then seems to decide she doesn't actually want to know. Never mind. I don't care. I'm going to bed. She gathers her things and leaves, shooting you one last, suspicious look over her shoulder. As she disappears into the castle, you notice Grimsby. The cat has stayed behind, sitting at the edge of the courtyard, his yellow eyes fixed on you with an intensity that's unnerving. He watches you for a long moment, and you have the strangest feeling that he knows, that he saw or sensed or somehow understood exactly where you went and what you found there. Then he stands, stretches with elaborate casualness, and walks away, his tail held high, leaving you alone with Silas in the courtyard that shouldn't be clean but is. Did the unicorn? Silas starts, then stops. Could she have? You touch your pocket, feeling the hair there, proof that you didn't imagine it all. I don't know, you admit, but I'm not going to question it. Let's just get inside before Cross changes his mind. The walk back through the castle is quiet, both of you too exhausted and overwhelmed to talk. Other students pass by, laughing and chatting, completely unaware that you just survived something they can't even imagine. The normal world feels surreal now, too bright and loud and mundane after the darkness and danger and magic of the forest. You reach the point where you have to separate, Silas heading toward the dungeons where the Slytherin common room waits, you toward Gryffindor Tower. He stops, turning to face you, and in the torchlight, you can see that the cut on his forehead has stopped bleeding, though the dried blood still tracks down his face like war paint. I won't tell anyone, he says quietly, about the unicorn. That feels, I don't know, private, sacred, maybe, like it's not ours to share. You nod, grateful. Good. I don't think anyone would believe us anyway. He's quiet for a moment, then says, for what it's worth, you were brave in there. Braver than me. When the spiders came, when we were lost, you kept thinking, kept moving. I just panicked. You were brave too, you say, and mean it. You're just also an idiot. The laugh that escapes him is weak, but genuine, and some of the tension breaks. Fair, he admits. Very fair. He hesitates, then adds, I really am sorry for getting us into that, for being reckless. I know, you say. Just maybe next time you have an idea that involves the words forbidden, or dangerous, or we'll probably die. Run it by me first. Deal, he agrees, though you both know he'll probably forget this promise the next time adventure calls his name. You part ways, and the climb to Gryffindor Tower feels endless, your legs remembering exactly how much running and walking and terror they've endured tonight. The fat lady is dozing in her frame, and she wakes with a snort when you give the password, swinging open with a creak that sounds impossibly loud in the quiet corridor. The common room is nearly empty, just a few students scattered around, finishing homework or playing quiet games of chess. The fire has burned down to embers, casting everything in a soft red glow that's warm and safe in everything the forest wasn't. You collapse into one of the armchairs near the fireplace, and that's when you notice your hands are shaking. Now that the danger has passed, now that you're safe, your body is finally allowed to react, to process the fear and exhaustion and overwhelming relief of survival. You pull the unicorn hair from your pocket, holding it up to the firelight. It glows softly, silver and perfect, a reminder that magic exists beyond spells and textbooks, that there are things in this world so beautiful and powerful that encountering them changes you, leaves you different than you were before. A few other students glance your way, probably wondering why you look like you've been through a war, your robes torn and dirty, your face scratched and pale, but they don't ask. Hogwarts students learn quickly that sometimes it's better not to know the details of other people's adventures. You sit there for a long time, watching the embers pulse with faint light, feeling the unicorn hair between your fingers, thinking about rules and danger and second chances. The forest could have killed you. By all rights, it should have. You broke the most fundamental rule, wandered into a place explicitly forbidden, and you did it for no good reason, just boredom and recklessness and teenage invincibility that proved to be devastatingly wrong. But the forest didn't kill you. The unicorn saved you, and in doing so, taught you something that no professor could have conveyed in a classroom. Some rules exist not to restrict you, but to protect you. Some boundaries are drawn with good reason, marked by the blood and fear of those who crossed them before and didn't receive the mercy you were given. You'll never forget this, you realize. Years from now, when you're tempted to push boundaries or break rules, you'll remember the darkness between ancient trees, the clicking of spider mandibles, the terror of being truly lost. But you'll also remember silver light and gentle warmth and the way the forest itself seemed to bow before something pure and powerful. The fire burns down to nothing, and eventually you force yourself to stand, to climb the stairs to your dormitory, to slip into bed with your robes still on because you're too exhausted to change. The unicorn hair you tuck under your pillow, a secret talisman, a reminder that magic is real and dangerous and occasionally merciful. Sleep claims you almost instantly, pulling you down into darkness that's nothing like the forest's darkness, this darkness soft and dreamless and safe. When you wake, morning light is streaming through the windows, and for a moment, you wonder if it was all a dream, a fever nightmare brought on by too much time pulling weeds. But then you feel the ache in your muscles, see the scratches on your arms, the dirt still embedded under your fingernails despite your best efforts to clean them last night. And when you reach under your pillow, the unicorn hairs, still there, proof that sometimes the impossible is simply the truth waiting to be believed. The day passes in a blur of normalcy that feels bizarre after last night's adventure. Classes, meals, homework, all the ordinary routines of Hogwarts life continuing as if nothing changed. You see Silas at lunch, and he catches your eye across the great hall, giving you a small nod that acknowledges everything and nothing. Professor Ashwell stops you after herbology, asking if you've learned your lesson about nighttime wandering. You assure her you have, and it's not a lie. You've learned far more than she intended, lessons that go deeper than simple obedience, touching on respect and humility, and the vast, unknowable magic that exists in the world beyond castle walls. That evening, you find yourself back in the common room, this time with your defense against the dark arts homework actually spread before you. The essay on Inferi seems laughably easy now, academic and theoretical compared to the real danger you faced. You write about identification methods and defensive spells, and your quill moves easily across the parchment, the words flowing, because you understand now, viscerally, why this knowledge matters. The fire crackles warmly, and students chat around you, and everything is normal, safe, predictable. But when you look toward the windows, you can see the forest in the distance, dark and mysterious, holding secrets that most of these students will never know. And tucked in your pocket, invisible to everyone but you, is a strand of silver that catches the firelight and glows with a gentle warmth, a reminder that you were given a gift tonight, a second chance, and you will spend the rest of your time at Hogwarts, and perhaps the rest of your life, trying to prove yourself worthy of it. The forest remains forbidden. The rules remain in place. But you understand now why they exist, and that understanding, hard-won and terrifying, is the most valuable lesson Hogwarts could have taught you. Some things are forbidden for a reason. Some boundaries should not be crossed. And sometimes, when you're young and stupid and incredibly lucky, the universe gives you a chance to learn these lessons without paying the ultimate price. You close your essay, the words complete, and look once more toward the distant trees. The forest stands dark and patient, keeping its secrets, and you know with absolute certainty that you will never enter it again. But you will also never forget what you found there in the deepest darkness when all seemed lost. Silver light, ancient grace, a mercy you didn't deserve but received anyway. Magic, real and true and powerful beyond measure.